It's funny. So when they traded up for Trey Sermon, I didn't mind the pick itself. I didn't like trading up for a running back in that range. But the more and more, so I think top 100 picks are extremely valuable. So if we're to go into 105, they have, 99, 101, and 102, I think are their picks. So if we're going, let's say the top 105, right? We cut it off there. There still is value in those back end of the third round where they have those 3 picks. But if you look closely, like the hit rate in that range is not great for all 32 teams. It's really, really hard to find impact players at that point in the draft. And so I think that the issue is that fans expect them to find a guy at another position. Like, oh, how come they could have spent that pick on a superstar edge rusher or a really good corner or a really good receiver? And sure, every year there's a guy or two that slips farther than they should have that every team can point to and be like, oh, my team should have picked this guy and we didn't. But everybody missed on that guy, and there's usually a reason why. So my thinking with Roschon Johnson and why I liked him to the Niners this year is when you're picking in that third round range and you already have such a deep roster, to me, I would much rather take a guy, even if the positional value isn't great, if people think running backs aren't as valuable, whatever argument they want to make, or they think that they have too many good ones already, because I think they have 3 that are proven to be really solid and a 4th who could be as well. I just think that I want a guy who I think can be a long-term NFL contributor and be a guy who's going to consistently make the roster year in and year out. And if that means that he pushes out a guy that I drafted in the 3rd round last year, survival of the fittest. It's a rough business. I hate to put it that way, but ultimately I think having a guy who maybe makes a room that's already deep even deeper, but is consistently going to be there is more valuable than taking a swing on a guy who maybe has really good athletic traits, but doesn't end up panning out at a thinner position or a position that, a corner, an edge, or a receiver that people might think is more valuable. And I think Johnson's a very complete back. I think that he's somebody who would be getting a ton more attention if he got more work, if he wasn't sharing carries with Bijan Robinson. And I think that the biggest thing for me too is he was extremely efficient. He had 448 total touches during his time at Texas, and he averaged 5.6 yards a carry. And he never averaged less than 5 during any of his 4 years there. And he only fumbled 1 time in his 4 seasons at Texas. So he's very dependable, takes care of the football, and I'm sorry, but I got loud noise.
They're not coming for you, are they?
Yeah, no. I live right by the 3. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes
that's all right.
So he's very dependable. He's somebody who doesn't lose the football, and I think the ball security is a really big deal. But the thing that really gets me, Mark, is that he arguably has his best years in front of him now because he has the pedigree of playing at a Power 5 conference. He showed that he could excel against top flight competition, but he doesn't have the mileage that a lot of backs coming out who are highly touted do. Typically, these 5-star running backs who are ending up, as these highly touted prospects that are going to be drafted super early, they're the focal point of their offenses in college, and as a result, have a lot more wear and tear on their bodies. And I think that with Johnson, because Bijan Robinson was carrying so much of the load, he's a guy that when he steps into whatever NFL team he gets on, you're arguably getting his best years on that 4-year rookie deal where he's going to be very inexpensive and he has that skill set without coming in having all of that mileage that typically accumulates. So to me, it just really comes down to, I want guys who are going to be NFL contributors, and I want guys who are going to be on the roster at the end of their rookie deal. And I feel more confident about Roschon Johnson than I do a lot of guys who I'm seeing mocked in that range. And even if that means taking another running back and having to fight for carries with McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, and, I think Jordan Mason's a very talented back as well. Give me the guy who I think has that pedigree, and I think Roschon Johnson's that guy.